So, welcome to the first day. Honored to be up here, and today we're going to be talking about ad copy, the third pillar of search. A lot of you know about it. I want to introduce some new concepts and new ideas. But instead of just having me talk about it, we actually prepared a video with some of our customers and partners talking a little bit about their challenges, their success with the right methodology, and their optimism with the future. So, roll the video, please.
Ad optimization is a very important aspect of search marketing because the ad is the first thing that the consumer sees.
Creative testing is very important. I look at ad text in search engines as the first opportunity for you to either attract a user to your site or convince the user that you're not the right fit for them. And both are important.
Having a good ad is what brings you, quality traffic.
Creative testing is incredibly important. It can literally make or break an entire campaign.
Ad optimization for your paid search accounts can have huge impacts on quality score, click-through rate, which can drive lower cost per clicks, as well as increased conversion rates.
I think the one thing that often doesn't get managed well is the creative aspect of paid search campaigns. And that's partly because search marketers have a more quantitative bias. Creative testing is a little bit more challenging, so I think in that respect, it's sort of a wide open space that clients need help with, and Boost is able to provide that capability.
It's important to be as relevant as possible, which means oftentimes writing hundreds or thousands of unique ads.
Our account is so big, it's really hard to really pay attention to individual ads or individual ad groups.
So I think with ad creation, everyone comes to the problem with their own personal biases and their own personal perspectives and viewpoints, which artificially limit their ability to create unique ads.
Simply put, when you test, you're able to get higher click-through rate, you're able to get better conversion rate, better revenue, more volume, better profits. Anyone who doesn't test is basically leaving money on the table.
So ad text optimization is sort of the forgotten element, if you will, of AdWords. Nobody's been paying attention to this. It's an afterthought to most advertisers. Yet here it is also one of the biggest components of what drives success in a campaign. We're going to see potentially some interesting things happening in that space, but I think that's also where a company like Boost is already leading that way and showing that there is value in actually looking at the ad text as a main component of your success in online advertising.
If you're not doing systemic testing on an ongoing basis, then you're just going to lose out to your competitors.
There we go. First of all, you noticed some of those people in the room, so I want to just give them a round of applause. Thank you for being a part of it. Excellent, very nice. And let's move us along here. So, ad creative. Big agenda for Boost today and the next year is really pushing this idea of the third pillar of search. The last time I was up on the SIS stage was, I think, 2008. I was with Marin Software. And I was pushing the agenda that software is a better way to manage campaign optimization and bid optimization than spreadsheets. And look at where we are now. So similar type of agenda. It's not that it's a lack of the effort behind it, it's a lack of other pieces. And I want to talk a little bit about that, get through some of the challenges that we see our advertisers and agencies face and what we've done to help that solution. So historically, and even to today, search marketing is really propped up by the primary two pillars, right? So we have the keywords and we have the bids. And that is the heart of the business still, right? So most search marketers are very analytically driven, right? They have the tools, they have the resources, they have the knowledge to really focus on these aspects of the campaign and of the program for themselves. We want to not introduce, but really push this idea that you can also do the same thing with ads. And they're, of course, a very important part of the overall agenda, the overall program, and the success that you can have. So I want to introduce one quick question, and I don't really need the answers to it, but for those of you out there who manage campaigns, over the last month or even the last quarter, how many new ads have been written and tested. So we actually did an analysis of one of the new accounts that joined us, very large program, over $1 million in spend, a lot of keywords, a lot of ad groups. And before they joined Boost, we saw that they had, in the last month, added 10,000 new keywords. They had done 100,000 bid changes, and they had written 50 new ads. So again, not for a lack of effort. This is on a team who is responsible for a lot of different parts of the program, obviously keywords and bids being a huge part of it. But we want to, of course, be able to allow them to manage that much better. And historically, right, the ability to manage is a lot about the resources you have at your disposal, right? So there's a lot of technology and a lot of resources for the keywords and bids, right? Programs and technologies you see here that a lot of you rely on to maximize the results, right? And we want to be that arm that you can lean on for the ads. In general today, I don't want to talk necessarily so much about Boost, but really the right methodology, the right way to look at it, the resources you need to be successful overall in the program when you look at the ads. So the problem itself, as we see when new advertisers and agencies come on and start working with us, first of all is a lack of a proven methodology. There's a lot of different ways to do ad testing. There's a lot of different methods to look at. And there's no real one way to roll that out. So it can be a little confusing, and it can be a lot of one-off work, right? If you have millions of keywords and massive amounts of ad groups, how do you go in programmatically and systematically test and optimize? So that can be a huge challenge. The methodology becomes very important. Lack of creative resources. So again, I talked a little bit about the fact that search marketers, they're really driven by analytical mindset. And that is hugely important, right? But it's hard to get out of that box and start thinking as the consumer rather than the marketer. So having a team of 3, 5, maybe 10 search marketers trying to write ads for hundreds of thousands, millions of keywords becomes just a pure math problem. And the last piece is the lack of diverse and unique perspectives. So again, with writing ads, there is an art to it, right? A lot of us apply the science, but there is definitely the art of trying to understand the intent of what the person is searching for, what it is you're offering, and how are you going to bridge that gap, right? It is human-to-human interaction, it's human connection, it's human communication. How are you going to actually draw them in and qualify them in the right way? And these really are the biggest issues that we see for any advertiser or agency that come to us. The solution as we see it is twofold, right? So you need the software, right? We are propped up and driven a lot by software to support us. But you also need the humans to do it as well. So this isn't something that can just move bids up and down, right? You need that fresh set of eyes. You need those perspectives. You need a different way of approaching this to really understand what's going to work, where it's going to work, and go through an entire program at scale. The first part, the human component. So there's 3 core principles the way we see it. And the first that I'm going to talk about is very, very important, and it's that diversity of perspective. So we actually apply a network of a little over 1,000 expert copywriters to do the work for us in terms of the actual writing. That allows us to have and deploy a large amount of these resources, very different ways of looking at things. They're not in the trenches doing this work every day. They're not attached to your product lines, to your SKUs, to your offerings. They come at this problem much more from the place of a consumer than they do as a marketer. And you get very different results from the actual creative and the ads that are written and put out. And you can actually see tremendous results from it as well, right? Stepping outside of that box of free shipping and order now and those defined calls to action. So that diversity becomes tremendously important. The other key piece is motivation. So let's say you even have you have a staff of 10 copywriters who are going to be able to do this for you. You still have 10 people who are being paid a salary to write, right? There's no, other than hopefully the seeing their results through improved metrics, there's really no inherent motivation for them to constantly drive forward, to constantly learn the lessons, to constantly get better. So what we've applied to the network is this gamesmanship, this motivation. So actually putting a bounty on the winning ad, right? And this allows people to really understand the things that they weren't able to do, understand the things that worked, and consistently drive towards writing better and better winning creative copy. And the last thing is scale, right? And that's pretty self-explanatory. You need to be able to actually have the amount of resources, right? Again, it's not 10, it could be 50, it could be 100 people that you need actually giving these diverse perspectives. A lot of these programs have been tested a lot. You've written a lot of ads. They're very, very good, and you can't expect one or a handful of people to come in and just beat those. But at the same time, the results that you can get from it when they do are tremendous. The software. So having the inputs from the human perspective is important. Understanding how to do it programmatically and systematically. We're not talking about 10 ad groups here, right? We're talking about massive, very mature, very manicured, very well taken care of programs here that we're dealing with. So understanding first and foremost where to optimize, right? Where you may be underperforming, where are places you haven't looked at, where are there places that you haven't written ads in 6 months or a year, right? And understanding that at a very large landscape, so you can have that visibility, becomes very, very important. Workflow. So having the ability to submit a bunch of ads, but then be able to do the workflow, the feedback for the writers, understanding what has worked and what doesn't work, the split testing, the statistical confidence, right? All that stuff to be able to get through. Otherwise, it's you looking at one ad group, couple ads, and checking from time to time to see what's worked, right? But a software, again, just like for the campaign management, just like for the bid optimization, can handle that same kind of scale. And the last thing is ad management. So what metric do you focus on, right? And everybody in this room has somewhat slightly different things they're going after, but at the end of it, everybody wants the same thing, right? They want to increase whatever conversion they're going after, lower the cost, and hopefully improve quality score and get the benefits from that as well. So there are a lot of different things you can look at. What do you want to? Ideally, you want the software to be very flexible. You want to test off of anything: click-through rates, conversion rates, CPI, EPI, RPI, whatever it is, right? So it's very important to have that flexibility and to have it be dynamic, because you might not want to always optimize to the same metric in every place. There's a couple things that we've been able to do, right? And it's looking at all metrics together, right? So it's the click-through rate, the conversion rate, all those things. What's moving and where is it moving? And what we've seen is when you do this testing towards optimization, they can go in different directions, right? So you can have conversions or revenue go up at the cost potentially of some clicks. And you can have the same thing happen vice versa. So it becomes a matter of, when you're doing this, again, we're talking about large scale, how do you do it in a way where you really know that no matter how things are moving, they're always going to be moving in the right direction for you? And one of the things that we've rolled out for some of our customers is a new way to look at this, a new type of metric that they can optimize to. We call it ACPI, or ad contribution per impression. And I'm sure it's not a far stretch for everybody in here to get this very quickly and easily. It's essentially the profit minus the media spend over the impressions. So it is a roll-up of all the metrics, and you know at the end of it, you're always going to be going in the right direction. This isn't necessarily the right metric for everyone, but we've had a lot of success with it. A lot of people are very happy about it. It does allow them to look at this really as very tightly knit with their objectives in the program, their bottom line, what they and you are responsible for in the program. And it is, again, looking at everything. It is a comprehensive downstream metric, and it really is designed to roll everything in, to look at it and make sure that you're maximizing everything across the board. Like in a CPI, for example, click-through rate needs to go up, conversion rate needs to go up. Ideally, everything is going up, right? So this is one thing we're working with a lot of people on. Interesting thing to think about, and you know, something that we could potentially talk about later on as we are on the slopes or snowmobiling, for me personally. I want to do real quickly a couple examples to really kind of drive in this idea that humans and people that are expert copywriters can design very different ways of speaking to your searchers. First example, and this I want to make sure to note out, this works for everything. So we have large retail, we have large travel, we have all kinds of different businesses that are using this, and these same type of principles apply. So in this case, it's certificate papers. These are actually real examples. We obviously took out the company, but the first thing that we saw was this browse certificate papers, right? Very kind of standard way of writing an ad, right? Some call to action, free shipping, of course, is in there. But again, a lot of times free shipping is somewhat table stakes. So when I'm, as a searcher, looking at a SERP and I see a lot of different ads, right, what's actually standing out to me? So another thing we tried was, or that the writers tried, was a little bit different, not tremendously different, right? Buy certificate papers over browse, create custom. So we're getting a little bit more into the intent, right? What is someone looking for when they're looking for a certificate paper? And it is to give that reward to someone. They want to have the ability to do custom, premium, and they want to have options, right? So this one, we actually saw a 15% jump in this ACPI metric. The other one we did, which was a lot more successful, is not something that you would think of really programmatically or as a standard way of writing these ads. It's much more emotionally driven, right? So certificates they deserve, right? Again, getting at the root of that intent, understanding what is it someone wants to deliver when they're searching for this, and how can you best communicate this to them? So imagine their faces when you hand them their personalized certificate. That is really calling into someone's emotional drive behind the search. Very different way of approaching it. Not a hard call to action, no free shipping, but at the end of it, a 37% jump in ACPI, right? And it has to do a lot about what is the searcher looking for. Another one I'm going to show real quick is car rental deals, right? So again, same storyline, can be applied to everything. What is it that the searcher is looking for? How can I best communicate the richness and the value of what I have to offer? How can I get at the root of what they're looking for? Car rental deals, same thing. This is the ad we jumped into. Again, a pretty standard way of writing the ad. Compare low rates from top brands, right? Standard way for an OTA to do this. Book a car rental deal. It's that call to action. You might be missing the exclamation point, but that's where it is. The next iteration we tried looks a little bit like this. So shop car rental deals. Compare hundreds, right? So the compare element is in there. Save, right? So when you're looking for a deal, you're looking for, right, something you're going to save on, and be able to do it very easily in one search. So this ad generated a 7% jump in ACPI. Again, let's get a little bit deeper into the root of what someone was looking for. Cheap car rental deals, right? Someone's looking for it for cheap. What they really want, they don't want to overpay, right? They want to save, they want to do that kind of thing, but overpaying is really at the root of it. And at the end of that, we saw a 62% jump in ACPI. So a lot of different ways to do this. Having the right components, the diversity, the scale, and all that kind of stuff makes a huge difference at the end of it. And that, I believe, is it for the slides. And we're going to go into a little bit more video here, just talk about the customers and partners that we've had that will highlight a little bit more about how the system works and what they've seen, and continue to enjoy your breakfast and coffee.